The observation deck of the Crimson Talon fell silent as Vash watched the security footage for the third time. On the screen, the human called Kalen sat cross-legged on the floor of the nursery wing, surrounded by 7 Kravathi cubs. The smallest one, barely 3 seasons old, had climbed into his lap. "Rewind it again," Vash ordered. His voice a low rumble. Kalen's hands moved through the cub's silver fur with careful strokes. The human had been doing this for over an hour. The cub's eyes were half closed in contentment, and a soft purring sound escaped its throat. A sound Vash had not heard from any cub in months. "Sir, should we intervene?" asked Lieutenant Mora. "The cubs are vulnerable. That creature has been aboard this ship for 6 cycles," Vash said. "It has shown no aggression. But it grooms them, sir. For hours. What purpose does this serve?" Vash did not answer. Humans were strange beings, smaller than most species, lacking natural weapons. Yet something about them unsettled him deeply. On the screen, Kalen moved to another cub. This one had matted fur on its back from a recent illness. Other caregivers had tried to clean it, but the cub had bitten anyone who came close. The human simply extended his hand. The cub sniffed cautiously, then allowed Kalen to touch the matted area. Slowly, the human worked through the tangles. The cub did not bite. "Impossible," Mora whispered. Vash's claws tightened. He understood dominance, hierarchy, strength. But this gentle persistence made no sense. "Summon the human," Vash said finally. An hour later, Kalen stood before him. The human was calm, unbothered. "You have been grooming the cubs," Vash stated. "Yes, sir." "For what purpose?" The human tilted his head. "They need it. Their caregivers are overwhelmed, and the cubs are stressed. Grooming helps them feel safe." "Safe," Vash repeated. "You believe you can make predator cubs feel safe?" "They're children," Kalen said gently. "Yes, they'll grow into hunters. But right now, they're just scared kids." Vash felt his fur bristle. "We are born with instincts honed over millions of years. We do not need. With respect, sir, everyone needs comfort." Kalen's voice remained steady. "I've watched your caregivers. They feed the cubs, clean them, teach them, but they don't touch them unless necessary. The cubs are lonely." "Loneliness is weakness," Vash growled. "Loneliness is suffering," Kalen countered. "Those cubs can't focus on lessons because they're afraid and homesick." The human continued. "On Earth, we learned something important. All children need physical affection to develop properly. Touch reduces stress and builds trust. Without it, they become anxious or withdrawn." Vash stared at him. "You would apply human science to Kravathi cubs?" "I would apply compassion to children," Kalen said quietly. For a long moment, neither spoke. Vash's training told him weakness had no place among warriors. Yet he could not deny what he had seen. The cubs trusted this human in ways they trusted no one else. "The smallest cub has not eaten properly in days," Vash said slowly. "She's grieving," Kalen said. "She lost her mother before boarding. She needs to feel safe before she can eat again. And you believe grooming will accomplish this?" "I believe showing her that someone cares will accomplish this." Vash turned away, looking at the stars. His own cub years had been harsh. His father had believed in strength through adversity. Vash had survived, but how many of his littermates had not? "Continue your work," he said finally. "But I will observe." Over the following days, Vash watched from the shadows. Kalen would arrive each morning, settling onto the floor. The cubs would approach slowly, then with growing confidence. The human would talk softly, telling them stories. And always, his hands would move through their fur with gentle care. The smallest cub began eating again on the 4th day. She would sit in Kalen's lap during grooming, and afterward, she would go to her meal bowl without prompting. Her eyes grew brighter. The other caregivers noticed. They began asking Kalen questions about human child rearing. Some started spending more time simply sitting with the cubs. On the 7th day, Vash entered the nursery himself. The cubs scattered, except one, the small female. She remained in Kalen's lap, looking at Vash with curious eyes instead of fear. "You have done well," Vash said. He lowered himself to the floor. "Show me." Kalen guided Vash's clawed hand to the cub's fur, demonstrating gentle strokes. Not too hard, just enough pressure to feel comforting. The cub pressed against Vash's palm, purring. Something stirred in Vash's memory, a fragment from his earliest days. Warmth, safety, connection. In our culture, Vash said quietly. We believe cubs must be made strong through discipline. Strength comes in many forms, Kalen replied. A cub who feels secure learns better and leads with wisdom instead of fear. Vash continued grooming, watching the cub's eyes drift closed. Perhaps we have forgotten something important. Word spread through the ship. The sight of pack leader Vash grooming cubs alongside the human became the subject of whispered conversations. Some called it madness. Others called it weakness. But in the nursery wing, something remarkable happened. Adult Kravathi began arriving during off-duty hours, asking Kalen to teach them. Warriors with scars from 100 battles sat awkwardly on the floor, learning gentleness. The cubs thrived. Their lessons improved. Their play became joyful. And every evening, a line of massive predators would wait their turn to sit with the small ones, hands moving through silver fur with newfound tenderness. Kalen watched this transformation with quiet satisfaction. He had simply seen children who needed comfort and offered what he could on the observation deck one evening. Vash found the human looking at the stars. They wait for you now, Vash said. The evening grooming has become sacred time. And the adults? Kalen asked with a small smile. Vash's tusks showed in what might have been a grin. The adults have learned that strength and tenderness are not opposites. They are complements. He paused. You have taught us something we had forgotten. I just showed you what you already knew, Kalen said. Every parent knows it. Sometimes we just need permission to remember. As they stood in comfortable silence, the sound of purring cubs drifted from below. And for the first time in generations, the warriors of the Crimson Talon understood that the fiercest protection came not from claws or fangs, but from the gentle touch of those who truly cared.